right now on 5 on your side at 10.
One more bitter morning when the January thaw settles in and how long it lasts.
A mother pushing a stroller hit and killed.
She had no chance to react.
Now her grieving family rallies behind her critically injured toddler.
I'm devastated. I'm angry inside.
Why they believe the tragic crash could have been avoided. Our top story, a deadly home explosion reduces a home to rubble. A neighbor's heroic efforts to save those trapped in the aftermath. Tonight, the Missouri State Fire Marshal's Office is investigating the early morning home explosion in Crawford County. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. One woman was killed, a man severely injured. The blast shook the entire neighborhood on Aaron Drive, just west of Cuba. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski spoke with devastated neighbors.
The Crawford County Sheriff's Office says Cuba, Missouri fire crews were called out to Aaron Drive around 1:30 Thursday morning after reports a home exploded. Many of the neighbors heard the explosion, and it was so strong that it actually blew their garage door off all the way across the road. The fire was so intense they had to call in crews from Bourbon, Steelville, St. James, and Sullivan. I spoke with a family member and neighbors who were just too devastated to go on camera with us. They'd been working all day in the rubble. But one of them allowed me to share his story. The man told me he lives next door and was sitting on the couch when the explosion happened. He heard a boom, looked out the kitchen window, and all he could see was fire. So he ran out of the house and started yelling for his neighbor and found him underneath debris. He pulled him to safety and then started looking for his neighbor's partner. She was on the other side of the home right before it happened. A few minutes later, he found her behind the shed. The explosion had thrown her from the house and killed her. The man was rushed to the hospital. Several hours after the blast, the Crawford County Sheriff did not release the victims' names, quote, to respect the privacy of those involved. The Sheriff's Office is trying to find out what caused the explosion, along with the State Fire Marshal's Office, Cuba Fire, and the Missouri Propane Safety Commission. The neighbor told me the homes on this small little street that make up the whole neighborhood are close to 20 years old, but it varies. The Crawford Sheriff said in a statement, "Our hearts go out to the individuals and families affected by this tragedy." Reporting in Cuba, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
And the Crawford County Coroner's Office released a statement on Facebook just over an hour ago saying they are actively involved in the investigation. Officials haven't found any indication of foul play. The neighbors are asking the public to stay off Aaron Drive to respect their privacy after this tragedy.
A sad end tonight in the search for a missing Illinois woman last seen in St. Charles. Investigators say they found the body of Brittany Hoffman Kelly today in rural Marion County, Missouri. The 33-year-old woman from Quincy was last seen with her husband on December 12th at a St. Charles hotel. Police believe Chadwick Kelly killed her there. 1 week later, he was killed by police after an hours-long standoff in LaBelle, Missouri.
Turning now to the weather impact forecast, another frigid night in St. Louis with temperatures dropping into the teens and single digits in some areas. But relief is on the way. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell says a weekend warm-up is on tap. Right, Scott?
At least for the first part of the weekend, yes. And warm-up is such a relative term here compared to where we've been. You know, we're dropping right now back down into the teens around St. Louis with mainly clear skies across the area and the wind slackening. That's why we're seeing those temperatures drop. So we do have some temperature swings on the way. We're going down tonight. Tomorrow we're so-so. But into Saturday, big bump. And we don't see any major storms through early next week. So it's a cold night ahead. Lows 5 to 10 for most of the metro area, but some of the spots, especially north of St. Louis where there's still some snow on the ground, you can expect to go down around 0. Winds are starting to diminish now, but you'll still need those layers out the door as we get out tomorrow morning, but it is milder next week. Should start with mainly clear skies tomorrow, pretty sunrise. Temperatures around 10 in St. Louis. Wind chills should mirror the temperatures since we're not expecting much of a breeze early on tomorrow. As to what's coming down the road, well, what's up? After our cold eases after tomorrow, we get the dry weekend, and then there's a late week rain chance for next week. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes, Mike.
Tonight, we're learning more about a St. Louis mother struck by a car and killed while pushing her little boy in his stroller on Monday.
The toddler remains in the hospital tonight. 5 on your side's Robert Townsend sat down with their loved ones a few hours ago.
Kelly and Mike, the people you're about to meet are preparing to bury their sister as they keep praying for their critically injured nephew.
She was just very fun, outgoing, life of the party.
Shanika Johnson says everywhere her energetic younger sister Shirley Howard went, she had her two little treasures in tow. Howard's sons, 2-year-old Amir Atkins and 5-year-old Adonis Atkins.
Of course, a very caring, loving mother to her kids. She would do any and everything for them.
Monday afternoon, Howard and her 2-year-old were walking in the street in North St. Louis, likely to avoid the ice-covered, snowy sidewalks. Relatives say Shirley was pushing Amir in his stroller in the westbound bike lane on West Florissant near Arlington, just a block from their home.
She was just headed to the store, I guess, to get some things for the house. And she was just right around the corner from the house.
Police say an 80-year-old driver headed east in the right lane veered into the bike lane, hit Howard and her child. The mom died at the scene.
It's extremely heartbreaking.
I woke up this morning in tears because the first thing popped in my mind is my sister's no longer living. And my nephews no longer have a mother. It's very hard for me.
Howard's family says Amir was thrown from his stroller and suffered severe injuries, including a fractured skull, a punctured lung, broken arms, and a broken leg.
He's not opening his eyes or anything right now. I wish more people would do their part, take care of the sidewalks. I'm praying for a miracle that he's going to come back and be the same Amir that he was before.
And as they prepare to say goodbye to Shirley, they struggle with breaking the terrible news to Adonis.
He sees that his brother's not around, and soon enough it's going to come up about his mother, and how do you explain that? It's just too much.
Shirley Howard was also her mother's caretaker. Now, the family tells me Amir remains in intensive care. A GoFundMe is set up. You can find more details on that on KSDK.com under the As Seen on TV section.
We're learning more tonight about the North St. Louis woman killed in a brutal dog attack. Gladys Anthony was letting her dogs out last week when 3 other dogs got into her fenced backyard on Theodore Avenue. The dogs were later impounded. The family has now set up a GoFundMe page to help with funeral expenses. They say the 62-year-old was a devoted wife, mother, and grandmother who worked for the Rittner School District for more than 30 years. We have a link in the As Seen on TV section on KSDK.com.
Right now, police are searching for the suspects who vandalized the National Museum of Transportation in Kirkwood. The suspects spray painted multiple 100-year-old trolleys. The nonprofit estimates the damage will cost $20,000 to fix. 2 people were caught on camera climbing the fence with duffel bags. Museum staff says this isn't their first time being targeted.
We've been hit before, just not to the significance that we were recently hit with the graffiti. It's pretty severe. They definitely came in with a mission.
The museum is accepting donations to pay for the repairs. We have a link in the As Seen on TV section on KSDK.com.
New fears tonight in North St. Louis County that people may be breathing in toxins from buried radioactive waste. Missouri officials are telling the EPA waste from the Westlake landfill may have gotten into the Bridgeton landfill, where subsurface smoldering has been occurring for more than a decade. That waste material, connected to the first atomic bomb, was dumped there decades ago. The advocacy group Just Moms has been sounding the alarm for years.
I think it's huge because it's an agency saying out loud what we all have feared and thought. So to see another agency say it is big. But the truth is, it's not catching people off guard. They're not like, what? They're like, finally.
The EPA and the owner of the site, Republic Services, say there's no evidence there's radioactive waste in the Bridgeton landfill. Right now, there's no timetable for when remediation will begin at Westlake landfill.
Some last-minute changes tonight for the plan to spend nearly $250 million in RAM settlement money. The St. Louis Housing, Urban Development, and Zoning Committee voted to advance the plan to the full Board of Aldermen today, but not before taking $14 million of the $74 million promised to developing downtown and splitting it between affordable housing, neighborhood development, and child care. The bill will go before the board tomorrow. A busy third day for the second Trump administration, including the first legal blow to the president's agenda.
A federal judge in Seattle temporarily blocked President Trump's executive order ending the right to citizenship for people born in this country to undocumented parents. Illinois was among several states that sued, calling it a violation of the 14th Amendment. The judge, a Reagan appointee, said the order, quote, boggles the mind. The legal fight is far from over and could eventually end up at the Supreme Court.
Today, the Senate confirmed a second high-level presidential appointment. John Ratcliffe was sworn in tonight as CIA director. Tomorrow, the Senate could push through Secretary of Defense nominee Pete Hegseth. The controversial nominee cleared a key procedural vote today. And President Trump also signed a new batch of executive orders. This includes the declassification of the files on the assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He also pardoned pro-life protesters.
Tonight, Bayer is making a new push for protections in Jefferson City. The company, with a hub in St. Louis, urged state lawmakers today to pass legislation protecting Bayer from cancer lawsuits linked to its popular weed killer, Roundup. The state Senate rejected a similar attempt that passed the House last year. Environmental groups and attorneys for customers also asked lawmakers to put their constituents before the company. A multi-billion-dollar settlement has been reached with the owners of the pharmaceutical company behind OxyContin. 15 states, including Illinois, sued the Sackler family and Purdue Pharma for downplaying the risks of the powerful painkiller and its role in the opioid crisis. The $7.4 billion deal still needs court approval.
The wave of the future,
AI is so transformational that it makes us rethink everything.
causing a ripple effect.
I think that people are just going to get lazier. Jobs are going to become more scarce.
Tonight, a look at the pros and cons of artificial intelligence for the St. Louis workforce.
Seasonable and reasonable. We're getting closer when that January thaw really kicks in and when the next chance of rain or snow heads our way.
Tonight, new wildfires are wreaking havoc on Los Angeles. The biggest of them, the Hughes fire, started burning yesterday, and firefighters say it's burning a football field-sized amount of land every 2 to 3 seconds. The fire has already forced more than 30,000 people to evacuate. Right now, the fire is only 25% contained. Forecasters do expect more rain to hit the region this weekend, and that will hopefully help firefighting efforts.
Tonight, a memorial is growing outside a high school in Nashville, Tennessee, the site of the latest deadly school shooting. 16-year-old Jocelyn Correa Escalante was shot and killed in the cafeteria yesterday. Police say the 17-year-old gunman, who was also a student, fired several rounds. He died from a self-inflicted gunshot. Investigators are still working to figure out a motive. Antioch High School is closed for the rest of the week.
Artificial intelligence, once a far-off fantasy, is now reshaping how we work, live, and think about our future.
Tonight, a look into how this digital revolution is impacting the people of St. Louis. New at 10, 5 Interside's Paula Dasan explores the hype, the hope, and the hard truths about AI.
Meet Cindy Sills. She's an IT director at a local law firm, managing complex systems that keep her company running. But at home in Florissant, Cindy's concerns about technology are deeply personal.
What do you think about AI?
I think it's terrible.
It's more than just professional skepticism. For Cindy, she worries what AI means for the future.
There's privacy concerns, there's ethical concerns, but the one that upsets me the most is human development. I mean, why learn anything if you can just tell a machine to do it?
These concerns are real and they're growing. What's AI's impact? Just ask AI. It's transforming nearly every industry.
When are we going to redesign the website?
Brian Flanagan is with St. Louis-based Proficient, a global digital consulting firm helping businesses adapt to AI.
I'm really optimistic about it.
Brian sees AI as a tool with boundless potential.
Can you tell me what this is a picture of?
Even a simple question, like solving a riddle.
Cat plus Z's gives us catnap. That's clever.
Shows how AI is changing the way we think. It's a small example of AI's growing ability to mimic human creativity.
AI is so transformational that it makes us rethink everything.
From finance to healthcare, AI is making waves. Brian's team is working on tools like Vivi, a virtual assistant designed to help families manage routine medical care.
Vivi is a companion agent that can coordinate appointments, notify you when prescriptions need to be renewed, also include biometric data.
And as AI unlocks new possibilities, it raises critical questions about ethics, inequality, and jobs.
Having less people isn't necessarily the solution. Having people do more with those tools is maybe a better route, but because there's so much focus on velocity.
Still, there are no guarantees. AI relies on human input, which means it can reflect bias. Brian believes we should embrace the technology while tackling risks head on.
I think you probably will have less people doing the same jobs because you can do more, but there are going to be new opportunities to take that new product or information that you have and build upon it.
For Cindy, these assurances fall flat.
I don't see it as a tool, honestly. I see it as a lazy way of getting things done. I think that people are just going to get lazier, jobs are going to become more scarce.
I found out that's not exactly the full picture. While a World Economic Forum report shows 40% of employers plan to downsize within 5 years due to AI, there's also good news. The report projects 78 million new jobs as AI evolves. You can take a look at that report. Just head to the As Seen on TV section on KSDK.com. Paula Bassan, 5 on your side.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is here with the weather impact forecast. It is going to get warmer, but not tonight.
But not tonight. We're on our way down now into the single digits for some of us by early tomorrow morning. So through about 9 o'clock, it's not so much the wind this go round. That's easing off tonight, but it's just flat out cold. And so we'll have the cold temperatures. We've still seen some melting of those snow piles around the area. So you still have some black ice to deal with. And you'll need some layers for sure out the door tomorrow morning. And it's still chilly tomorrow afternoon. Only lower 30s. But over the weekend, we're transitioning to more seasonable, more reasonable air for this time of year. The average high is 40 degrees. 11 right now in Pittsfield, as well as Litchfield. 12 over at Effingham. 15 at Scott Air Force Base. It's also 15 in Rolla right now. Down in Salem, Missouri. 14 out in Warrenton. In St. Louis, we do have mainly clear skies across the area. Feels like it's 10 degrees. That's your wind chill, but the wind's down to 5 miles per hour. Earlier today, it was a bit gusty. 17 the current temperature. That becomes our new low for the day, by the way. It was 22 as of 6 o'clock. Keeps dropping, so the low is probably 11:59 tonight. And then tomorrow morning's lows, especially north of St. Louis, you go from Troy over to Hardin, Jerseyville, Carrollton, Carlinville to Litchfield. You still have some snow on the ground to the north of town. And if you have a decent snowpack, odds are you're closer to 0 tomorrow morning with this clear sky and with the light winds. The cold air that's coming in right now and for tomorrow just kind of brushes us by. The core of it is going off to the north and east. Tomorrow night, we'll be watching these clouds slide our way, and as they come in tomorrow night, that keeps us from getting as cold tomorrow night into Saturday, and we'll let a warm up take place across the area. Tomorrow, we're around freezing in the afternoon, reasonably bright day. Clouds increase tomorrow night. We'll go with 30 about 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in St. Louis, and the winds will pick up out of the southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, dry weather here. There may be a few flurries up towards Chicago Saturday, and Saturday night down in Arkansas, there may be a little bit of rain, but across the bi-state region, this is a pretty dry pattern. Now, if you are going out to Kansas City for that Chiefs-Bills game, it's cold. Temperatures will be dropping into the upper 20s, but dry. You look at the next 7 days, coldest day out of the next 7 is tomorrow. After that, it's a lot more tolerable around here. Now, we're mainly dry until we get into the end of next week. That's where we have some questions. That was the energy that was swinging through here earlier today and tonight. We go into early next week or late weekend. That's our Sunday night energy that kind of brings us a little taste of cold air. But then we're watching this out in California. That upper level energy will start swinging our way. This is a pattern that generally is favorable for at least a chance of rain as we head through time. But the reality is the chances right now don't look overly impressive until at least Thursday, maybe Friday. And even then, it's a bit on the iffy side. But we will let you know if anything looks to change with that over the next few days.
The warm-up will be nice.
The warm-up will be nice, and it favors rain versus snow based on what we see.
A welcome change.
Scott, thanks. Corey is in with sports.
Well, the Blues tried to make it a 2-for-2 week against Vegas. It's a busy night in college basketball, and we have an anniversary to remember. Stick around, sports is up next.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Onder Law Injury Attorneys.
Last week, the Blues swept the Calgary Flames in 2 games at Enterprise Center. Tonight, the Note had a chance to sweep a home-and-home against the Pacific-leading Vegas Golden Knights. Easier said than done. Jim Montgomery said the song of the night was I Wanna Rock by Twisted Sister. Don't think he was rocking to this start, though. 15 seconds in, Mark Stone steals the puck from Cam Fowler and beats Joel Hofer. 1-0 Vegas in no time at all. Still in the first, Victor Olofsson snipes one, 2-0 Golden Knights. Blues got one back in the first. Dylan Holloway drops it off to Jordan Kyrou, who tallies his 21st of the season, 2-1. 3-1 in the third now. Blues pulled Hofer, and Robert Thomas is going to make it 3-2. They have life. But Vegas would get an empty netter to end it, unfortunately. Golden Knights win 4-2.
I thought they were vastly improved from our previous game. That's a championship team. Most of the guys on that roster have won a Stanley Cup, and they came out and they showed why. And it's a good opportunity for us to learn from them and realize there's another level or two levels for us to grow to.
Thursday may not traditionally be the big night for college hoops, but we had plenty to check out tonight, from the Big Ten to a couple of local OVC teams in action. Number 17 Illinois hosting Maryland in Champaign tonight. Illini down early. Dre Gibbs Lawhorn trying to change that. He's going to bank in a triple. Let's go to the second half now. Illinois still trailing, and this guy can score no matter how many guys you put on him. 2 for Kasparis Yakachonis in the paint. But oh man, Maryland had something to prove tonight. This 3-point play from Derek Queen made it a 14-point game, and it just got worse from there. The Terps come into Champaign and beat number 17 Illinois 91-70. Lindenwood hosting SEMO with the dynamic duo of Rammer and Earl on the call. Hot start for the Lions. Anais Futrell, that's a triple. That made it 11-0 right out of the gate. Chaminade grad B.J. Ward helped cut into that lead for SEMO. It's Thursday. Bank's still open, I guess. Lindenwood clamped down late. Look at this fast break. My goodness, that was pretty. That's how you draw it up. Lions get a huge 72-68 win over SEMO at home. Local products came up huge for SIUE hosting Southern Indiana tonight. Rayshawn Taylor was unstoppable for the drive. 2 points for the Collinsville kid. Then it's Jordan Pickett. Going to be a triple in the corner. That ties the game in the first half. Belleville East represent. Second half now, Taylor again. Watch closely. His pass goes off a defender's foot, back to him, and he finishes it. Whatever works, I guess. Here it is again. That's quite a play right there. Time winding down, 3-point SIUE lead, and it's DeSmet's Brian Taylor who makes the defensive play of the game to ice it. Cougars win 82-76. Rayshawn had 24. Looking at future candidates for the Baseball Hall of Fame, there's a very real chance Albert Pujols could become the first unanimous position player ever voted in. We know Ichiro missed that honor by just 1 vote this week, but he took it pretty well at his press conference today.
There's one writer that I wasn't able to get a vote from. I would like to invite him over to my house, and we'll have a drink together, and we'll have a good chat.
Kurt Warner takes, back to throw, under some pressure, rainbows the far sideline, and it is touchdown Rams! Yes, Ricky Prohl!
25 years ago today, Ricky Prohl picked a fine time for his first touchdown of the season. It sent the Rams to Super Bowl 34 against Tennessee. Frank Cusimano will turn back the pages and relive that Super Bowl week that was Sunday night at 10:30. Pretty good call by whoever was on the call of that. He might be on the desk here tonight. I'm not sure.
It's really hard to believe, and I keep going over and over it because we've been running, highlights from 25 years ago. That number, 25 years, it just doesn't seem possible
it really
that it was that long. Of course, it was before you were born, but the rest of us.
was around. He's like, I was 2.
That is a great call, though, Mike.
Oh, thanks.
Tina Turner was simply the best. Tonight, we're hearing a lost track of the St. Louis songstress for the first time.
A St. Louis native has been added to the Super Bowl halftime show. Headliner Kendrick Lamar announced today that R&B singer SZA will join him on stage at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans on February 9th. The duo are going on tour together and will be at the Dome at America Center on June the 4th. Tonight, for the first time, we're hearing a new tune from Tina Turner, nearly 2 years after her death.
The song, lost for decades, was recently rediscovered. That's Hot for You, Baby. The St. Louis native originally recorded the track for her hit 1980s album Private Dancer, but it was cut from the final version. It's unclear how it became lost. The song will be included in a special Private Dancer anniversary album slated for release in March. Turner died in May of 2023 at the age of 83.
Seems we have a lot of lost songs that come to the surface
know. How
years
does that
later.
happen?
I don't know. Scott has a final check of the weather impact forecast.
We're not talking hot yet, but we are
Yeah.
getting a little bit warmer here as we head into tomorrow afternoon. We're back around freezing in St. Louis after that cold start. Single digits to around 10 out the door tomorrow. After that, though, it's a much milder forecast with temperatures back into the 40s Saturday. Not going to say there's a lot of sunshine Saturday because there's not. It's going to be mostly cloudy for most of the day, even into Saturday night, but it stays dry. Sunday's a little colder. Next week, much milder, above average by about 10 degrees.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+.
Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.